You're beautiful.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. All right, guys, we're here. We're going to be breaking down or talking about the upcoming event, the Craig Jones Invitational, CJI. Here I am, Frederick Daniel. I'm here with Tito, Carle, one of the best Australian grapplers.
Yes, hello there, everybody.
And I'm here with Keller, Locke, Sodhi, former ADCC trials winner, an ADCC veteran, as I like to say. And we're going to be here talking about the Craig Jones Invitational. I'll start with you, Kel, because you've had matches against Craig.
Yep.
You kind of know Craig a little bit personally. So you'll kind of have a good understanding of his mind and like what he wants to do with this event. What do you think? How do you think this just event in general is gonna change the landscape of Jiu Jitsu? What do you think Craig's motives are for this event?
Well, for starters, I don't think that wrestling somebody means that somehow you know what's going on in their head. Right?
That's true. That's true.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have no more insight than anybody else.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Okay, but we can state some facts. Okay, about what I think this is going to change.
Yeah.
Number one, I think that monopolies are horrible. So you never want to have a monopoly in any sport. UFC is probably the best example of this, where athletes don't get paid anything. I actually think that the best thing that can possibly happen is that the CJI, or Craig Jones Invitational, doesn't go ahead.
Yeah, interesting.
Because the best thing that could possibly happen is ADCC, which is already a spectacle. It's a sport that everybody knows and loves. Just increases the prize money for all the fighters, and then it's a win-win for everybody. We're not dividing the sport, and I think, honestly, I actually believe that Craig would be happy with that as well.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what he wants, right? I think he's trying to push for Mo and ADCC to give a little bit more funding to the athletes and get the numbers up. I mean, like, Craig, I don't know if you guys had watched it, but I had listened, it just released today, his podcast with Joe Rogan. He was talking about just to get T-Mobile Arena apparently costs about $1 to $2 million to rent out. So if you're thinking about it from that perspective, it's like you're putting $1 to $2 million into just getting T-Mobile Arena. You could be, and only your athletes are getting $10,000 to win. Like, you guys know, it's
the biggest ripoff.
Yeah, you guys have,
my opinion.
You guys have competed in Jiu-Jitsu. You know, you've made it your careers a long time. Kel, you know how hard it is. Tito, you know how hard it is just to even win trials, let alone win ADCC. And to win that whole thing and only get $10,000, obviously sponsorships and stuff, you're going to get money from that. But I think it's a bit of a disgrace. And
I like that word, Freddie.
Disgrace.
It's a bit of a disgrace.
I think it's just harsh, bro, because you got so many people putting so much into it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people putting their bodies on the line.
The effort,
All this effort and training, because you get so many injuries in this sport more than...
I don't know if it's disgraceful. Yeah. You don't get paid anything for winning the Olympics.
Yeah.
All right, and everybody wants to be an Olympic champion.
That's very true. But there's so much more funding in the Olympics. These athletes are taken care of way higher. Tito's, he's funding his own career. He's got to fund his training, his food, everything else.
Oh no, I'm a broke jiu-jitsu bum, bro.
Yeah, man, he's definitely not funding.
I
actually bought him dinner last night.
Yeah. Okay.
Proves my point. This is why I agree with the Craig Jones Invitational.
Unfortunately, it cut out at a certain point, so we're just gonna go over what we were just talking about.
Actually, somebody came in and they tried to hold the place up. I just quickly went out. I wrestled him. That's why we had to stop.
Yep.
He had
the police.
And I came with a dog shot from the side.
Disarmed him, and now we're back.
And then he tried to taser me. He did taser me, but I took it, took the shock, and I was like, I still choked him out with one hand.
Yes, nice. Okay.
So
now we're back after just saving the planet, and we're going to talk about how this is going to affect Craig's Jones Invitational. How does this affect ADCC, and how does this affect Flow Grappling, especially I want to talk about, because Flow's obviously a company that's putting a lot of money into ADCC. They've got the streaming rights to ADCC, and this is obviously going to affect them. So how do we think this affects Mo, and how do we think this affects ADCC? Is Mo going to have to budge? Is he going to have to do it, or does he think that it can seemingly work with Craig's thing, and they don't have to up the money?
Well, they say in life that there's some choices that you make that are irreversible, and it dictates the rest of your life from that point. An example would be if Tito got the love of his life pregnant, for example. Right? He has a baby, it changes the course of his life from that point, right?
Finished.
This moment, to me, is a defining moment for ADCC, and it could change the course of it completely from that point on. And it's a forked road that there's no way to turn back.
Yeah.
To me, there's two options, right?
Yeah.
One is ADCC does nothing. That will fuck Flow over.
Yeah.
and probably fuck ADCC over.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, 'cause
second,
yeah.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, that's completely right.
Yeah.
I agree, to be honest.
The second option, I think, is that ADCC matches what Craig Jones is doing.
Yeah. The Sheik puts up more money. Is basically.
Yeah, puts up more money.
Yeah.
We discussed this before off podcast. So the best thing they could possibly do is almost copy the event. So they basically, I think they should do an over 88 and under 88 absolute division. Give $1 million prize money to both of them.
Yeah.
And if
There's
they do that,
no way they would do that.
why not?
I just feel like ADCC. I just feel like they're just very selfish when it comes to money.
Well, you don't know that.
I think they have the money. I think they just.
Of course they have the
I
money.
just
They're
think
renting
that-
out T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're only paying the athletes.
I just think.
$40,000.
Yeah, I just think
Compared
that
to
they're putting it into the production and stuff. I think Mo values that, which is
Yeah.
I think is good. But I love what Craig's doing and forcing Mo to kind of have to act. He has to act now. He can't. He you know they're going to lose a lot of athletes.
Well,
We've talked about some.
How much do you reckon Bruce Buffer costs?
Fuck. It's expensive, bro.
Craig was telling about the drummers probably get paid more than the athletes.
Yeah, but this
Bruce
is my point,
probably
right?
6 figures.
Okay, so you reckon 6 figures? All right, but let's just put things in perspective. Craig's got, how much has he got? $3 million?
$3 million. So he said 700,000 going into production.
Yeah.
And 2.3 million going to the athletes.
Okay, but let's just say, what do you think the production cost of ADCC is? $4 million?
Couple $1 million, yeah, for sure. Maybe
So let's. I actually-
T-Mobile's already 1 to 2 million just to get the
I
venue.
don't know. Probably
Okay,
flow
so-
grappling's like 2K, bro.
So ADCC's already spent more money on the event than Craig Jones Invitational.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are events that pay athletes money, but then there's also spectacles. Like the Olympics, you don't win anything, but it was the greatest event that you could possibly go to in terms of the spectacle. When you're there, they're putting the athletes up in like the athlete village. It's 2 weeks where you're treated like an absolute king. That's
Yeah.
what
I think-
ADCC is doing.
I think because the Olympics, it's government funded too. Like as you said, judo.
Yeah. But
Everything's-
but judo
like,
Olympians
jiu-jitsu's
don't
not-
get anything.
I know
Judo-
they don't get anything,
Yeah.
but it keeps the athletes training because they can do it for free. They get their food sponsors.
Yeah.
They get everything. With jiu-jitsu, you're literally doing everything by yourself. It's
Yeah.
a one-man
Yeah.
army.
Maybe this is me being just understanding judo a little bit.
Yeah.
But judo athletes are heaps more broke than jiu-jitsu athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more money in jiu-jitsu, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe
I,
that.
but I guess I think it's
believe
easy
that.
to stay in judo.
Yeah.
Just the fact they get everything paid
Yeah.
for there.
Yeah.
But,
All right. We had another cutout. Unfortunately, it's
There's another rubber.
yeah,
Yeah.
another rubber.
This time I choked him out with my left hand.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
We're moving
And
on.
he's a righty, so
We're going
it's-
to quickly talk about the current athletes that have been released for CJI, the guys that have dropped out of ADCC and moving on. We've got Mason Fowler, the Tackett brothers, Joseph Chen, Nicky Ryan, Nick Rodriguez, Luke Rockhold, Fionn Davis. There's some pretty big names. Craig also hinted this morning in the Joe Rogan podcast that Marcelo Garcia is going to be having maybe potentially a comeback match against someone.
Guys, what are your predictions for that? Who do you reckon Marcelo's going to fight?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Galvao.
Sorry. Great.
Jesus Christ.
That would be the most epic match ever.
Marcelo Garcia and Mickey Galvao.
Marcelo
Yeah, Marcelo
Garcia
get
is
pumped, but it'd be awesome.
Marcelo
No, I
Garcia is
reckon it's-
coming off of cancer. Okay.
He had cancer?
He had cancer. He's just
Wow,
survived
bro.
cancer.
He beat the Big C.
Yeah.
Did he beat COVID as well? Because that'd be like double
He
Big C. beat.
double
He
C
probably
defeat.
I hope Marcelo isn't getting thrown to the Sharks immediately. He's
I think he
one
should
of-
fight Eddie Bravo. I think it would be like probably Eddie Bravo or someone.
Nah,
No,
Maybe
that'd be good,
maybe
yeah.
John Jack Machado.
I'm thinking someone maybe a touch.
John Jack, you know the guy with one hand, ADCC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's sick.
I think Jean-Jacques too old.
What other cripples do you want to put
Yeah.
him up against? What? A guy that's crippled in the brain that thinks the Earth's flat, and a guy
Yeah.
that's crippled because he's missing a hand.
Yeah.
Hey guy,
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way,
he just survived.
our
for me.
brother Tito here actually believes the Earth's flat.
Yes, I do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's 6,000 years old as well.
Okay. Well.
And the Great Canyon was formed by a big flood.
Oh, and the moon landing's fake as well.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about the current athletes that have been released. I mean, Mason Fowler and Nicky Rod. Do we?
Dude,
See,
come up predictions.
yeah.
100% plus 88 division. I know who's going to win it.
Nicky Rod.
Luke Rockhold is going to take
It's-
it out with ease, bro.
It's
That
plus
guy
88
is
division.
a weapon. He's going to smash everybody, man.
Why do you think we're seeing Luke in this? I mean, is it because it's Craig's mate?
I think,
and
I think
it could
he's
be
got-
that's the only
yeah.
reason, yeah.
Or maybe who are the top 16
What?
plus 88?
It's
Who's
plus
second?
80. It's plus 80.
Plus 80.
Well, what would you guys rank Luke Rockhold in the world?
Dude, I reckon I'd pump him, bro.
Grapplers?
You reckon you'd what?
I reckon I'd pump him.
I
You said that about Gordon Ryan, man. I remember you saying, "Oh, dude, I'd pump Gordon Ryan because of him."
No, I said I would scissor leg. I reckon I'll just jump on his leg, bro, break his knee. Well, if I don't last the first 20 seconds.
Luke, I think Luke's a big, strong physical guy. Brings some names in. I mean, he's willing to have a crack.
It's kind of like
I like Luke in it. Who gives a shit? You know, it's Craig's event. It wouldn't be fucking Craig's event if we didn't have a little bit of.
No, I think it's good. Like, put it this way: if Conor McGregor wanted to compete in it, 100% Craig would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you'd
of
have to
course
see
he
it happen,
would.
do you know what I mean?
And that's what I'm fucking.
So that's what I think Luke Rockhold is like a shitty version of
Conor.
McGregor.
Yeah.
You know, that's
He's a grappling version.
Are there any names for you guys where if you did see them drop out of ADCC and go to Craig Jones Invitational, it would shock you? Like who for you?
Marigali.
Yeah.
Marigali, yeah.
Carle as well. John Carle.
John Carlo, I could see just doing it.
Do you guys think we see the Rotolo brothers, Mika? I think
I don't think they can't do it because they got a contract with one.
What?
No,
the
I
Rotolo
think
brothers.
they definitely
So they
can
can't
do
do
it.
ADCC?
No, the Craig Jones Invitational. What if they did a contract saying, okay, we can only grapple at ADCC and one championship because they haven't fought in any other organization?
They did Worlds. They did IBJJF Worlds.
Yo, maybe they only sign a contract saying I'll only do those two events.
Maybe they
Any
knew about
other
the Craig Jones
five
Invitational.
promotional
That's
hunt.
But wait.
One
Why would one not let them do it?
because they got lifetime contracts.
But
I think so. Like one is known for doing
for the Rotolos.
yeah,
maybe.
but if you were one, right,
I
won
think-
championships,
Yeah.
would you not want to see ADCC fall? Like, one championships is arguably like trying to compete with UFC, which is a monopoly that does not pay their athletes enough. And ADCC, which also has Bruce Buffer as the announcer, is a monopoly that does not pay their athletes enough. It's actually in their best interest to let them compete.
Yeah, they probably would do it. I don't know if the Rotolos. I think the Rotolos would be down to do it for sure.
They've got the same color scheme as UFC and ADCC.
I don't think they're gonna do it. I reckon they signed a contract, and I reckon one's got their rights.
Maybe anyone else that we think would be a massive name. I think Mika's definitely another big one. Diego Pato.
I think I
Baby
literally
Shark's
think
gonna do it. I reckon. Minus
I
80.
think we're going to see also the older guys, the guys like Lovato, Wagner. I think these guys are
because they
100%.
know legacy.
They've already
means
got
nothing.
they've got the legacy already. I think those guys are 100% over. You've already seen Mason Fowler, Nicky Rod, and Mo hasn't even released who's going to be replacing these guys. I think they're scrambling. Tito might be getting an invite at the.
Brother, I didn't even win first round of trials, right, guys?
God knows what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be pretty crazy to see the names that come out of it. Anyone that you guys like seeing crossover that you just think it would just break ADCC?
I reckon ADCC's finished already.
no. I think the guys that you need to see crossover that will break ADC are just champions. So anyone that's won ADCC,
JT Torres as well.
So
JT
Theon
Torres
crossing over already.
That's big.
It's big, but let's be honest. In terms of viewership, we've got like a 15% female viewership and 85% male, so it's not as effective as having one of the big male champions crossover, and that's all that we're waiting for.
Okay, maybe so.
I think we see Gabriel Souza as well going over. He's a silver medalist ADCC, Fion's partner. I think he's for sure going over as well. I just think it's too much money for these guys to throw down.
Just throw away.
Also, Craig's talking about, man, he's saying that the funder of this event is going to be able to do this every year. They want to do this once a year for the foreseeable future.
Everyone looks at Craig Jones's stories. He's hanging around the rich princes and
Let's put
stuff.
things in perspective here a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Just so that we can be clear. So let's take Gabriel Souza. How much do you think that he got paid to compete on Subversion? If we had to put a ballpark figure, if you had to guess.
25,000. I don't know, maybe
What?
more. Maybe less.
What?
Freddie.
You guys know way more than me, dude.
Freddie, that's the most wild
Dude, that is the
accusation
most
you've ever made.
craziest thing you've
If
ever
I
said.
had to guess, I would say maximum $5,000.
I would say
Wow.
100%.
So you
So-
think he does it for a bit of a holiday?
The guy that's getting paid number 2, like the silver medalist for ADCC, is willing to accept fights for $5,000, right? Okay.
Yeah, he's gone.
Australian.
Yeah,
And now we're
yeah.
talking $10,000, 16,000 Australian. Okay. Now ask yourself, who is at a similar level to Gabriel Souza in terms of funding and whatever else it is?
Yeah.
I guarantee you that even Mika Galvao is not making that much money.
I think Mika's doing it, man. 100%. I think he is.
He'd be crazy not to.
I think the only people that are gonna do it are people maybe that already have funding.
Let's ask a better question.
Yeah.
Name 5 people who you would bet your house on not doing it.
Not doing it.
Not doing it?
Gordon.
Yep.
Marigali. I just think that let's just say the Roka guys, the guys at New Wave, I just don't see them doing it.
So the only people that would not do it is New Wave.
Probably won't do it. Pretty much, I reckon.
New Wave, and I also
Saunders as well. Like
what?
I reckon he wouldn't do it. Apparently, when he's in, there was a comment. He's like, I already qualified for ADCC, so I don't think he's going to do it.
I think Saunders would do it if he got the chance. But anyway,
I don't think he's going to do it.
I don't even know if Craig. I don't even think Craig would obviously invite him. I think Saunders has got to.
Well,
at
you're
least
talking
win
about top 16.
Yeah,
in
he's
ADCC.
not in the top 16 man in the world.
He's got to.
According to.
He's got to win.
No, but man, we literally have the easiest qualification.
He's got to win a match at ADCC.
It's not fair. Like to say that you're in the top 16 in the world, you qualified in Australia. I will say
just what the
I
records
qualified in
say,
Australia. I'm telling you, I'm not the top 16 in the world.
Yeah.
I qualified these trials, and I will put my hand on my heart and say that I'm not the best 16 in the world in under 88.
Facts. That's fair enough.
It's a fact.
I think we see. I think we for sure see guys like Felipe Pena doing it and stuff like that. The guys I don't think are going to be that maybe aren't going to do it is again the AOJ guys.
Nah, man.
I think Diego
That's
Pato,
ridiculous.
maybe
I
Cole.
do it.
I don't think they're going to
The
do
only people
it.
that might not do it is New Wave, and if the New Wave guys don't do it, it's because they're in a cult, and their cult leader said they can't do it.
Yeah, that's.
So let's be honest, because
that's fair enough.
It's ridiculous.
That's
you guys are in a cult. Get out of it. Run now.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I think the AOJ guys, they care so much about legacy. I think you'd be surprised how much they care about legacy, and I think you'd also be surprised how much money those guys have. $1 million is still a lot to guys like Diego Pato and stuff, but I'd be surprised if they did it. Let's quickly move on. Let's talk about the rule set for this event. Craig's released it today on his podcast with Joe that it's going to be a MMA style rule set. From my understanding, it's going to be a 10-point must system where they have 3 rounds, scoring the rounds from a 10-9, 10-8 perspective based on who did well in that round. There'll be no points, no advantages, things like this. If there's a submission, obviously the match is ended. Guys, what do we think about this rule set in terms of it compared to other rule sets like EBI, IBJJF, and ADCC?
And the mats as well. The way he said it was shaped.
It's going to be rectangular.
Similar. So
rectangle.
It'll play with the rule sets. With getting resetting and stuff like.
Yeah.
Sick.
Rectangle, apparently, and it's going to be quite big, basketball court sized almost.
That's what Craig said, the alley.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be called a basketball court size mat.
Yes, about that size with skirting on the walls and things like that. It's going to force people to have to.
So you can't like
obstacles in between.
Craig throws a fucking $1 million out. He throws a $100 band at them while they're fucking grappling.
In this event, do they have a ladder in the center and you have to climb it?
Yeah. It's just going to be WWE style.
Oh, you were saying that it was just like punishing athletes.
Kel, what do you think about this rule set?
I think we should steal it for Grapplemania.
Wow, yes. Well, you're someone that we run an event here, Grapplemania, behind us. One of the first events we did, we had a bit of speculation with the rule sets and things like this. You know how hard it is to kind of get a rule set, to get a referee that understands the rule set. I'll tell you this now, no one fucking Australia knows fucking ADCC rule. I promise you that. It's much easier to score a 10-9, 10-8 system. I think that's much more straightforward for people to see, for the viewer to understand, and there's no speculation over advantages, points, things like this. So I think overall it's
I think it's awesome. I just want to point out something about the 10-9, 10-8 system.
Yeah.
What a shit system that is from boxing.
Yeah, it is.
Why is it always 10-9, 10-8? Shouldn't it be like 9-4? Like, what's the point of, like, why the hell have we got a 10-point system that is only ever, like, 10-8, 10-9, and sometimes 10-7?
I think, from my understanding, it's from boxing when they used to do, this could be completely fucking wrong, it was when they used to do 10 rounds.
Yeah.
So that the score would ultimately end in 100 if you had the 10.
Okay.
I think it's something
that kind of
like
makes sense. That kind of makes sense, but I don't understand.
I don't know.
The idea makes sense, but the scale to me doesn't make sense. It's difficult for the viewer to understand. So 100% score each round in a similar kind of way.
Yeah.
But why it should be maybe a 1-3 system. You know what I mean, or something else that's
Yeah,
easy for
I mean,
you to
I
understand.
think
Yeah.
he's just done that
Yeah.
because it correlates with the UFC. It's easy for the
Yeah.
eye to understand.
Yeah.
It's also slightly going to be different to the UFC in that it's going to be open scoring. We're not going to know the result at the end. Let's say round 1 finishes. The judges will tell the athletes after a 1-minute break what the score was for that round, so that they both have the initiative of whether
Wait,
they're up or
did you
down.
say a round? It's going to go by round.
By
3
rounds,
rounds.
3 rounds. Yeah, yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, were you not listening to the past one?
Yeah, of course I
yeah,
was.
sorry.
No, I think he's got ADD. He was like staring at like something on the wall there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So that was the rule. So let's quickly move on and let's talk about the funding for this event. Okay. Obviously, Craig has someone that he's close to that has a good amount of funding that's passionate about jiu-jitsu, similar to the Sheik situation. Craig on the podcast this morning was talking about that they're going to do this every year. You know, they want to run it back every single year. They're doing it non-profit. They're going to stream it for free on YouTube. I mean, Kel, how much money do you think this guy has to just be willing to fork out $3 million every year? I mean, you know, that it seems like Craig's obviously rolling with someone that has a big margin.
He's got at least $3 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter. Like there's no way you can answer that question.
Yeah.
The truth is, right, there's plenty of rich people in the world.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of rich people that we know are doing jiu-jitsu. All right?
Yeah, that's true. Anyone could just...
All right. Look, it could be Zuckerberg. Who knows? It could be Elon Musk.
Yeah.
What would be fucking cool about, all right, is if we finally see the Elon Musk Zuckerberg fight and it's on the Craig Jones Invitational. Okay. That is the end of ADCC days.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Craig versus Gabby is booked on
Yeah.
that event.
What's happening?
So she's gone out of ADCC. So this is what I was saying. ADCC.
Wait, she dropped out?
She dropped out. She's going to be doing a match with Craig on the
They
event.
signed the contract.
Signed the contract. It is done.
ADCC's over.
I told you, boys.
That's the best fight of all time.
Gabby Garcia versus Craig Jones.
That's the best fight of all time.
Okay, why is that such an important fight? Why is this the thing that's got you excited?
Because they've got equal testosterone levels. Right? So that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my days.
Both got very strong jawlines.
Yep.
And Gabby Garcia, have you seen her in person? Met her in person?
I have. I met her.
Bro, how
She
big is
is
she?
a
She's 6'3", yeah?
She's
Right.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
She looks
is huge.
She looks like she could crush
Dude.
Tito's puny skull with one. Tito would try and milk her, and she would reverse milk him.
Yeah. I was
And she
scared to
would
say
actually
hi.
milk me.
I was scared to say hi to her.
she would
She's so
I don't know if she can
unbelievably
lactate, man. She's fucked with the hormones that badly. I don't know if she could still do that.
big.
Bro, she looks like... I don't want to say. Sorry.
No, she's actually probably a really nice girl.
She's-
Very nice
she-
person,
well,
as most athletes are.
I met her. She
But
was
man.
absolutely lovely. But she is
How are you, Freddy?
she is a specimen.
I love Craig to bits. Like, he's an awesome guy, but fuck, I would love to see him get pumped by Gabby Garcia. That would be epic.
I think Craig would.
Imagine
Everyone would
that.
love that.
I think Craig would love getting.
I want
pumped by
to,
Gabby
you know what I want
Garcia.
to see? I want to see him get double legged by Gabby Garcia, like legit double leg. He's
Yeah.
like just mucking around. She picks him up,
Like
fucking
suplexes
double legs
him,
him
like
into
arm
the
drag.
pit. He possibly like breaks his back like ever so slightly,
Yeah.
and then has to crawl back up, and then she like does like the Thor thing, you
Yeah.
know, like where
Yeah.
that would be sick.
It's gonna be absolutely unbelievable.
But in terms of money, man, I think there's plenty of people in the world who are very rich that do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I've always said, and this is crazy that I've said this, I've always said that IBJJF is a scam,
Yep.
and all that we need is one rich person to buy out IBJJF, because at the moment they've got a monopoly, and when that happens, it's going to change jiu-jitsu. I think that this is exactly what has happened for ADCC.
Yeah.
You got somebody rich. It could be somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, okay, who actually wants to see a change in the sport. To a billionaire, $3 million is pittance.
Oh, man.
But this is the
pocket
kind of
change.
money that
Yeah.
will change the sport
Yeah.
and will make big changes.
Yeah.
$3 million to those guys, I
yeah.
just think it's a drop in the fucking ocean.
And you know what? If ADCC is actually still sponsored by a sheikh, for a sheikh, $3 million is also a drop in the ocean.
Exactly.
And what it comes down to, and what will change this event, I believe, is who truly wants to see athletes, who truly wants to see athletes perform on a professional level, who wants to give back to athletes and wants to see change and reform in the sport. This sport is actually ran like cartels almost in a way. You've got like the whole Gracie Barra cartel that runs IBJJF.
Yeah.
The whole system is fucked up.
Yeah.
And ADCC is a legacy system that was just created, and there's no actual body that runs it. It's just one person that gets to run it all.
But this is kind of what I love about Jiu-Jitsu is you can have some Aussie from Australia like Craig come in and fuck the whole game up. You're not going to see this in basketball. You're not going to see this in soccer.
You wouldn't see it in the UFC either.
Yeah, I love that grappling is the Wild West in a sense, where we can come out and you can see some fucking Australian guy from fucking come in and fuck the whole game up, put everyone on its head, and now they have to react. They have to respect him. And that's what I love. Craig is doing this. Like, I'm so thankful to have a guy like him in Jiu-Jitsu to be able to do this for us. It's entertaining for us. It's fucking a spectacle. And I think ultimately it's just going to push Jiu-Jitsu further, which is the next thing I wanted to talk about. How do you think this affects the future of Jiu-Jitsu? Is it a net positive on Jiu-Jitsu as a...
Well, I think yes. I think also as well, we've got to thank Craig for doing it. He's the vessel that's making it happen.
Yeah,
but ultimately, the main man that's making it happen is a benefactor. Whoever that guy is, thank you to you. Because it's somebody that is you really need, like what they call in the stock market, a big swinging dick to change things, right? You need somebody, who has a lot of money to make change. And it's somebody like that has made this happen. So we need to thank whoever you are.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's all I have to say. You are going to change this sport
for the better.
For the better, and I think that this is the start of the new beginning of where jiu-jitsu athletes actually get paid.
And you've chosen the perfect man for it in Craig. He is really a guy that is non-biased. He's going to do what's best for the athletes and for a fucking laugh, for his entertainment to be. I feel like this is honestly a little bit for just Craig's entertainment.
I think he genuinely wants to change.
He's giving me like the Dark Knight Joker vibes. Like he just wants to see the world burn. You know, some people, they just want to see the world burn. It's about sending a message, and that's what he's doing. You know,
to be honest, I personally believe he genuinely cares for the athletes.
I think he does too.
Because he sold his car. Like if you watch his story on YouTube, who says how he sold his car just to get to the trials, all this type of stuff.
Exactly.
And a lot of people going through that. Yeah. Imagine you start getting paid for the sport.
And that's why I wanted to have you guys on, because you guys are athletes. Kel, you're a guy that's won the trials. You've gone to ADCC. You've done these things. Tito, you're a guy you're 22 years old. You're trying to go and do the same things. You guys know the grind. You know the thing. Kel, you're a guy that owns a gym. You own your own event. You know, you can really understand the dynamic of this whole situation and what Craig has to deal with. There's probably a lot that he's taking on his plate. Like this, trust me, this is work for Craig. He has to deal with a lot of things, and he's doing it, you know, for the benefit of jiu-jitsu, for the benefit of this. And that's probably the last thing I wanted to talk about was the future of this Craig Jones Invitational. Craig's said on the podcast this morning that he's going to run this back every year. This benefactor is willing to do it every year, yearly. And if that's the case, I think ADCC, how are they ever going to match that? You know, and do you think that Craig's going to? Is he going to run it back on the same day as ADCC every time, or because it's every 2 years, it's not going to be every single time? Or do you think he just kind of makes this his own event and kind of pushes it off after this? Or do you see him still just trying to go at ADCC until they have to push the button?
I think it's pretty hard to speculate on that. At the moment, I think the whole purpose of this event is to shake up a system and change the rubric for what it means to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a bit of game theory in that, like a really good example, going back to the stock market, is that you kind of don't want to be like getting everybody to buy shares at the same time and then buying on top of that, because once the share price is set, it keeps going up and up and up.
Yep.
So you have a lot of organizations, they have a set price for what they'll pay their athletes. Then one organization comes along and suddenly they're paying the athletes so much more that then is a new standard that everybody has to match.
Yeah.
It makes sense as a business to never raise that price, because you're like, although you're competing with one another, you want to keep that price as low as possible. It doesn't matter if it runs again, I don't think. It's just this is the new standard for what the best grapplers in the world should get paid. That's all that matters. And if you think otherwise, you're a dickhead.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to end this. Thanks, Kel. Thanks, Tito, for talking about this. We might do another one when it gets closer to the actual event and all 16 names for each division have come out.
But by the way, I just want to say,
Yeah.
how strategic was it, I reckon, by Craig doing the Joe Rogan podcast
Yeah.
before,
And Joe as well.
with the biggest audience in the world, the most listened person in the world.
Yeah.
I reckon Craig's so smart.
Craig's
man.
got a plan. He's got it
all
tucked.
strategic.
Man, imagine if Joe was a benefactor.
Well, man,
He's not.
that's what I reckon he is.
Dude,
It's
imagine if it was
strategic,
Joe.
man.
Imagine if it was Joe. That.
Nah, he's friends with.
Oh yeah, I've never seen $1
Gordon.
million before. How'd you get that?
Yeah, Joe's talking shit. Come on, Joe.
You've never seen $1 million
You've
before,
never seen
Joe?
$1 million. Are you fucking serious?
That's crazy.
As soon as I read the podcast, I was
Joe's
like, bro,
near
this is
billionaire
so
level, come
so
on.
strategic.
Yeah, come
That
on.
would be hilarious if
if
it's
it's
Joe.
just Joe the whole time, just like.
Oh my god! If it's Joe, he is so much more alpha than I thought. That's the most alpha move ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of money, I'm about to get my ass kicked if I don't make it to the other gym.
Okay.
Now, so
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on, and it was a good discussion. All right.